In an effort to save money, Zoe decides to cut back on the number of meals she eats at restaurants each month. She tracks the number of meals she eats out each month for a year. The data is recorded on the dot plot below. And it says which statement about the data is true. Well, what I see on here is that we kind of have a tail over here to the left, and then we have a cluster here, which means that our data is going to be skewed left. So when we look down here at our possible answers, it could be the first choice, the data is skewed left with an outlier, and then the data is skewed left with no outlier. So at least we can narrow it down to 2, but we need to do a little bit more work. And again, I have taken those points from the dot plot and I have listed them on my notebook paper so we can decide if there is or is not an outlier. And I probably do a little bit more than I need to, but I like to keep the same routine. We need the minimum, the median, the maximum, Q1 and Q3, which we really need because we're going to have to do the inner quartile range, which is Q3 minus Q1. So the minimum is not hard to find. The maximum is also not hard to find. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we need the middle two values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the median is 12, since those are both the same number. Remember, we average those two together. So to find Q1, we're going to look at the first 6 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. And then we do need to average here. And it's 10 plus 11 divided by 2. If you type that into Desmos, you will get 10.5. When we look at the other part of this, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just checking here. The middle two values are 13, so that works out. And we need those again because what we're trying to figure out is, do we have an outlier or not? So we're going to take 13 minus 10.5, which equals 2.5. And to figure out the inner quartile range, or to figure out whether we have an outlier, what we do is we take Q1 minus 1.5 times the inner quartile range. And that is a formula that I recommend that you have written down beside your computer somewhere so that you can figure it out. And if we do 10.5 minus 1.5 times 2.5, I'm going to pull up my calculator. Again, feel free to use Desmos, but 10.5 minus 1.5 times 2.5 is 6.75. Well, our lowest value in this problem is 6. And what it's saying here is that we want the lowest value to be 6.75. And if we've got anything lower, then we do have an outlier. So this means that 6 is an outlier. But by the way, when you're figuring out outlier, you look at Q1 minus 1.5 times the inner quartile range, and then it could be on the other side here, and that one is Q3 plus 1.5 times the inner quartile range. So that is another formula that I recommend that you put beside your computer while you're taking a quiz or a test.